All right, I want to show you guys a current few of my avocado trees. I've got 6 of them, and I've got 3 of them up here. I've started these from seed, and there's a few ways. There's a lot of ways online that you can see how to grow avocado trees. You know, they have the, you know, put it in a cup of water method with the toothpicks. You put them directly in soil and whatnot. The way I've grown these is right off compost, and it's been phenomenal because I know that they're going to be huge, gnarly, you know, beautiful trees because of that. You know, I find that how they start matters a lot. This one I transplanted yesterday, and it's doing very well because the thing is that what I did was I reconditioned the soil, cleaned out the roots a little bit, and just added some compost in there along with peat moss and some fresh garden soil. But I want to show you something over here real quick. This is how I have actually started all of my avocados actually. I'm gonna hand this over to my cinematographer real quick. And if you look here, I have things sometimes they just pop up and grow in random places. These are avocado trees. Now if I lived in a place where we didn't have frost, I would let them grow, you know, especially this one where it's not in a bad spot, considering these are my blackberry plants over here. This one's in a terrible spot because it's actually next to my blackberries. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to dig it up, and I've already mixed up some soil back there, which is basically garden soil, peat moss, and some, you know, compost. So what I see, I have a thick layer of mulch over here. What I'll do is I'll clean out most of this topsoil here, and I can already see the roots on this. Okay, now one would worry about the root system being too big. You can always tell the size of the roots by the circumference and the size of the plant. So these aren't gonna have giant roots. However, I'll make a hole deep enough so that I don't disturb the taproot. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll dig from pretty much far out. I made a circle, and I'll start from this one end here, keeping in mind that I may be touching the roots of these blackberries, but that's not a problem because you can cut they're called runners. You can cut those and it's not going to be a problem. They are extremely hardy, and if you dig the roots of blackberries, that really isn't a problem. What I might hit underneath are runners, if anything, which would be completely fine because, again, that's not going to interrupt the health of the blackberry tree. So the way I do is I dig a hole deep enough, right? And I'll start to move the soil. If I see the plant moving with the soil, then I know that I've hit a good enough depth. But if I'm moving the soil and I see that the plant's not really budging, then I know the roots are actually a lot deeper than where I'm at. So this is basically how I started all of my avocado plants. Okay? Doing this. See, right there, I've got a good spot. So what I'm gonna do, so I don't continue to do further damage, I don't like digging too much because I actually try to do as minimal damage to the soil as possible. I actually don't like interrupting the roots too much in actuality. See, these roots right here are coming from this blackberry. These right here. Check out these, look at this. Look at that. These are actually beetles, you know. Usually I just either, you know, if I had chickens, I would feed it to them. But normally I discard them because they don't really do too much on my garden that I prefer to have. But check this out. Look at that. Look at this. So this is basically how I've started all of my avocado trees. It's directly from the soil. You see that? Now, if you follow me, and this was the bigger one because the smaller one is there. That one's going to be a lot easier. So I'm gonna put it in here. In the meantime, this is where I'm gonna put it. Now these don't have too big of drainage holes, so I want to drill a hole in there. But what I got here is basically this garden mix here. This is garden soil, and it's actually from the Carolinas, so it's got a lot of native, like, organic matter, and then peat moss. And what I did was I went into my bins and grabbed compost, and I mixed all this up, and then this is what you get. Some very nice light soil that smells amazing, by the way, too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plant that in there, and you know, this is gonna need a much bigger pot, but for the winter time this will do. I don't have any more pots right now, but it's gonna be like this, okay? And that's about it. I mean, this is very easy. Just make sure that when you bury it, you can see where that marking is. That's basically as deep as you would bury it. A lot of people usually bury it and leave the seed exposed and whatnot, but this is growing roots from the outside already, so you definitely want to try to give it some covering. And then what I'll do is I also add, I have a bunch of wood chips back there, and I just cover that on top with wood chips, and that's about it. So we'll talk soon.